Oh, hello. Is the mic working? I think the mic's working. Are we there? There we go. Okay. I just got to make sure the mic's working and then I mute myself so I don't have to. So you guys don't get feedback. And I don't have to listen to myself talk. It's bad enough that you got to listen. Okay. Hey, I've been trying to get this up since yesterday, and I'm still having funky issues with my system here, and I couldn't. I recorded this a couple of times so that I could release it, and the sound isn't syncing and whatnot. So I got to quit trying to make things better because I just make them worse, it seems, in some cases. But anyway, so the big thing that I want to get through here is the December Raffle. For those of you that aren't aware of, excuse me a second, I'll bring this down here. Hopefully it will make things better. Oh, why do I have that camera? Hang on, let me switch cameras here for you guys. There, that's better. Now you can see who's talking. Sorry. Where was I? Anyway, so yeah, so every month we have a raffle. Entry to the raffle will cost you a photo of your latest completed build. You send that to ShutterAce at ShutterAce.com. The beginning of the following month when we do the drawing, we will show all the entries on the YouTube video. If we don't have a zillion entries, we'll talk about each one a little bit. If we have a zillion entries, we'll just kind of kick through them. We might talk about them, but we'll go through them pretty quick, probably. I don't see that being an issue yet. It might down the road. So anyway, so that's what you need to know. You send a photo of your latest completed build, one single photo, ShutterAce at ShutterAce.com. If you send multiples, I will pick the top one on the list. So just know that. So that may not be your first choice, but it's a time thing. Anyway, so this month is the Monogram P61 kit. This is a 1991 release. The original release came out in '74. I have an original release kit of my own that I'm getting ready to start here pretty soon. And I'll tell you why here in a second. This is sealed. I think this was the second run on this kit. So it's probably still pretty good. I've heard the glass, the clear parts in the Ravel release, the release that's out now in stores, that the clear parts are not great. I don't know. That's what I've heard. But this should be pretty good. I built one of these many years ago when I was young, and I remember it being somewhat complicated, but it's cool playing. So again, picture of your latest completed build to ShutterAce at ShutterAce.com. Subject, you can just put December raffle entry, something like that, whatever. And yeah, it'll get to me, and we'll put you in the bucket. Moving on, I've been kind of I don't know, mojoless. I haven't been very motivated at the bench lately, and part of that probably has to do with looking for work, but that's neither here nor there. So I went into the pile and I'm looking, and it's like, okay, I need something simple. And part of the problem is, a big part of the problem is I can't paint in this room, at least not with an airbrush, because there's no ventilation whatsoever. So regardless of whether you're using acrylics or not, you still have particulates in the air. That's not good, regardless. So regardless of whether it's caustic or not. So So here's my thought. I have no issue brush painting things, and if you get a primer, especially if you're brush painting over primer, it usually goes on just as well as spraying. Without primer, with acrylics, it can be a little challenging. Okay, it can be a lot challenging. So, my thought was, well, I'll get something together, and then I'll prime it, and then I can bring it out here, and I can paint it. Mainly thinking of like aircraft interiors or whatnot. I haven't worked my way through it to really think about how I'm going to do it. I like this new space. It's bigger, it's brighter, it's cleaner. But yeah, it's not really conducive to painting. So I've got to think my way through this. It's possible that I'll move back to the old shop and maybe do some work in there or something. I don't know. Then I could turn this into my little bar, my little like 10 by 12 foot bar, my little 10 by 12 foot nightclub or something. I don't know. Anyway, so that's not a bad idea now that I think about it. Moving on. So going back to the pile and looking at stuff. So I grabbed this, which you can see I got fairly cheap. So, and not only is this simple, but it's pretty cool for a number of reasons. There's someplace I can put this, not really. What's cool about these? Okay, this is also from 1974, the original. So this was released by Italeri in 1974. This is from 81 or something. Excuse me. Let's see. This release is from 81. It says 81 on the back. So what happened was, Italeri, first they got into a deal with Revell, and Revell was releasing the Italeri kits in a box not too different from this, actually, except it said Revell Italeri, and it had a picture of the actual model on a base, some kind of scenic base, if I remember right. And we used to buy them at, what was that yellow discount store? Anyway, and so anyway, back in those days, let me get rid of this. Trying to think and hold it at the same time. So back in those days, you had Italeri and Tamiya for 135th Armor, basically. Well, you had Monogram too, but as far as a decent number of subjects, Monogram had 4 or 5 subjects. They didn't go too much further than that. But so Italeri, in my opinion, Italeri had some finer details. They had some smaller parts, more fiddly. But the Tamiya always had the engineering, even back in those days. So they were simpler, but the engineering, the fit and stuff was better than the Italeri kits. So there's that. But what was cool about the Testors releases, and I don't know if this was true of the Ravel releases, not that I remember, but Testors also released stuff under their own name that were actually old Hawk molds from like the 50s and stuff. But the instructions they did for all of their stuff was pretty amazing. And why I say that is if you can see this, they have a picture of the completed model up here, obviously. And then they have a nice history section over here. And specs, and before you're starting, and preparation parts, and painting. So for a young kid or a younger person back in these days, this was a gold mine. I mean, this was how to step up your game, kid, is what these were. Yeah, instructions on how to really do this. And on the back side, it has figure painting instructions, weathering instructions, and it goes into fairly deep detail of how to do it. And granted, this is one way to do it, but I mean, this was pretty groundbreaking stuff, at least for me back in the day. And then looking at the instruction sheets themselves. Now, this is something that wasn't really my thing. But if you notice, there's a whole lot of verbiage. Blah, 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 blah. This goes here and that goes there. And there a quack, here a quack, everywhere a quack, quack. And that's great. And I know there's people that love that. I don't. I'm pretty good. It'd give me an exploded view and where we're supposed to end up, and I can figure it out 90% of the time. But if you're not, if that's not you, then this is obviously helpful. And it continues on here. So, and then this is pretty cool. So it gives you, here's the figures, the instructions for the figures, but then there's a whole section here of how to paint the face and do the shadows and stuff on the face, where they all go, and then it gives you actual colors, not only colors, but what to mix to get what. So if you got to do some mixing, there's instructions on mixing colors there, which colors to mix, how many to mix what. It's just a huge bit of information in that instruction sheet. Pro Monogram / Ravel. Monogram did that with the Pro Modeler stuff. The Pro Modeler kits had really in-depth instruction sheets with history and photos and pretty cool stuff. So that's what I'm working on right now. There'll be a video series on that, and yeah. So what else? I think that's it. Anyway, the big thing, like I said, I want to get out here the December raffle, what the prize was. I've already got entries coming in. So yeah, please send a photo in, ShutterAce at ShutterAce.com to get your name in the hat. 1 entry per person, 1 photo per entry, please. We will use your photo in a video, so don't be surprised when it shows up on YouTube. And yeah, I think the prize for November should be already with its owner, with its new owner. So good deal. So hey, that's it for now. Take care of the people you love. We'll see you next time. Bye now.